It's been a crazy week. It's been a crazy...
All right, so let me get started on this video with Michael Rappaport's response to Kanye West. If you guys know this channel, you guys know that I'm not a fan of either the blacks or the Jews in the media. Blacks or Jews, everyday blacks or Jews, I don't got a problem with blacks and Jews in the media. All right. They use the media as their own propaganda tool. Everybody knows that. They've been using the media as their own propaganda tool for the last 25 years. Matter of fact, they teamed up to use the media as their propaganda tool to push their agenda for the last 25 years, while going out their way to disparage, destroy, and manipulate and suppress the Asian American, LGBTs, Latino Americans, women's groups. They've gone out of their way to suppress all of those groups for the last 25 years, while giving them the best branding that they could for their own race. Now, this is prior to the rise of social media in 2017. They could have gotten away with this. They could get away with this pre-2017 because they essentially monopolized the media from 1995 to 2017 with the rise of hip-hop. The media, the culture of this country essentially forked from just being primarily a white Anglo-Saxon to a black Jew, and then in 2017 it forked like a million different ways to LGBTs and whatever group that you might be associated with. But I'm you know what the problem, the thing with Kanye is I think that Kanye, those of Kanye's ilk or political ideologies, they want what they want is they want that period from 1995 to 2017 back is what they want. They want that monopolized period where the whites, the blacks and Jews actually had total control over the media, where they went out their way, where they could go out their way to essentially program the rest of the population. That's how Obama got elected. Without the black representation in the media, monopolized black, white, and Jew representation in the media, mostly liberal, you wouldn't have had Obama being elected. You wouldn't have blacks being where they are in 2022. I personally think that Kanye doesn't like Latino Americans. He has a problem with Latino Americans, essentially because he thinks that they're going to take over, which they should have in 2020, which they should have in 2000, when they became the largest minority in this country. And it's a sad thing that even though those Latinos been the largest minority in this country for a good 20 years, they still get virtually very little representation in the media. Now, as far as Asian Americans are concerned, Asian Americans, there was an part Asian American Superman on TV in 1993. All right, on network TV at 9 o'clock on a Thursday or Wednesday ever, or whatever, in 1993. The most virile representation of an American male was part Asian. All right, this is prior to 1995. After 1995, from 1995 to 2017, every single representation of an Asian American, particularly an Asian American male, was some short racist stereotype from like it was worse than any kind of racist stereotype from the 1920s, 30s, 40s, whatever. All right. The blacks, the whites, and the Jews who monopolized the media for those 2.5 decades essentially created a caste system and essentially ruin and destroy decades and decades of Asian American progress. So big F you to all of them. Now, at this point, I couldn't care less. I couldn't care less that Kanye is going after the Jews. I hope the Jews go after Kanye. I hope they both shoot each other, to be honest with you. I hope they both get each other, to be honest with you. I hope this is like the chickens coming home to roost, because I'm not gonna care about either of these two groups. They're garbage. They're absolute trash. They're absolute trash. Michael Rappaport is trash. Kanye is trash. Sarah Silverman is trash. You know, whatever black celebrity you want to come out, you know, put up there that's going against the Jews, they're trash. Whatever Jews celebrity that's going after the blacks, they're trash. You guys are all trash. I hope you guys actually just nuke each other, like culturally nuke each other, because you guys are all trash. All right? The only reason why you guys are anywhere where you guys are, you know, in this country, is because you guys essentially just pushed Asian Americans to the background for a good 25 years. You guys can't do that anymore. I mean, it took Asian Americans 25 years to get back to where we were 30 years ago. It's a good thing that you guys can't do that anymore, because there's too much. It's because social media exists for the benefit of everybody, because SJWs exist for the benefit of everybody, okay? Those two things in modern culture are essentially the conscience of these people who obviously, if you looked at the 2.5 decades that they have a monopoly over the media, they had no conscience at all. Not the blacks, not the whites, not the Jews who essentially control the media. They had no conscience whatsoever. So I'm all for SJWs for everybody. And anybody who has a problem with SJWs and social media, etc., you essentially have a problem with that being created by the blacks and Jews over the last 30, 40 years for their own benefit. Because everybody wants to know where this whole SJW thing came from. They essentially created this blueprint for their own agenda for the last 30 years. These people essentially created the SJW, the whole woke culture for their own benefit for the last 30 years. They're all trash. All right? And for Kanye, for Michael Rappaport to even talk about woke culture as if it was a negative thing to disparage it, it's just total hypocrisy. Because they essentially created that culture, created the blueprint for that culture, or at the very least, used that culture for their own benefit. Then when it comes to everybody else wanting to do the same thing to benefit their group, their race, etc., then they come out swinging and saying, oh, this is woke culture, you're trying to cancel people. But what's up with all your race cards? You use your race, the blacks use their race cards to cancel people. Don Imus and a whole host of other people. The Jews have used the anti-Semitic card to cancel people for like the longest time. So what's the big difference? There is no big difference. You created woke culture. There's no questions to be asked about who created woke culture. The blacks and the Jews created woke culture. They created cancel culture. That's who the OGs are as far as who created all this stuff. And it's not even surprising to me that once they can't benefit from it, or once everybody gets that ability to cancel, and once everybody gets the ability to create a woke culture or social media or SJW group of their own, all of a sudden these people, after using this culture to gain what they gained over the last 25 years, now they have a problem with everybody doing it. And that's my issue with these people. All right, that's my culture with you people. That's my culture. That's my problem with you people, for being the biggest hypocrites that they can be. All right, and it's not just that. You didn't just use woke culture, SAW, cancel culture to cancel people out. You used all that culture to essentially create a caste system for the last 25 years that you were hoping would last longer than that. But you didn't count on social media to negate whatever the caste system that you had going for the last 25 years. Let's all think about it. Should black people be where they are in 2022? Like, out of merit, out of just hard work merits, out of just statistics as far as any kind of civilization statistics is concerned, should black people be where they are in 2022 as far as getting a president, getting a vice president, getting all these people elected, getting all the cultural social influence that they have? I mean, as far as getting admitted into colleges with lower SAT scores than other people, as far as constantly getting the best media representation in the media, should any of these people actually have what they have in 2020 without constantly going out there and using the race card, without going out there and just constantly riding for the dumbest things, etc., etc.? And the answer is no. Now, I don't have anything against black people in particular, but I just think that this country should be fair, should have been fair, should be fair, should have been fair for everybody. Okay, neither the blacks nor the Jews are the biggest victims in this country. The red man, the original Americans of this country, still haven't been given the country back. They're still living on reservations. They're still living, majority of them still living in poverty. They're still pretty much oppressed. You guys gave Africa back to the blacks, to the Africans in 1995, but haven't moved an inch as far as giving the Americas back to the real Americans, all right? Essentially, Michael Rappaport, you are a European American, or at the very least, a Jew American, and Kanye West is an African American. You guys are not the real Americans. You guys are not victims. So both these stupid groups need to stop playing the victim card for their own propaganda purposes, all right? Nobody should be accepting any kind of victim card these days, unless you give the victim card to everybody, unless you give every single group a victim card, which pretty much negates the victim card to begin with. So the fact that these two groups are not the biggest victims of this country, but they constantly benefit from constantly going out there and promoting the victimization is insane. It's absolutely insane. All right, this is not the way America was envisioned to work. Normally, you work hard. The harder you work, the more you get. Not the more whining about race this, race that, color this, color that, religion this, religion that, and constantly doing that to get what you want. And this is supposed to be America for everybody. This is not supposed to be America, an America where you get what you want because you think other groups, because you go out of your way to make this into some kind of cultural race war where you only want things to benefit your group or your race while bashing the hell of other races or groups. That's and the use of the media to do this is insidious. It's just insidious that people can't see the changes that had happened over the last 25, 30 years just because these groups have used the media to promote their agenda and their race. Wake up. Everybody just really needs to wake up about this, because these people put out an agenda. These cowards put out an agenda, and don't make excuse in saying that it's entertainment or a joke when it's really messaging. When you're actually putting out racist propaganda through the guise of entertainment, through the guise of storytelling, through the guise of imagery. This is what Hitler did in Nazi Germany, and this is what these two groups have done over the last 25 years. And people really need to wake up to this, because both these two groups are leeches. They're leeches.